According to a recent report by Professor Roger Hossein, an economist at the University of the West Indies, Trinidad and Tobago finds itself lagging behind its regional counterparts economically. In contrast, Guyana stands out with remarkable growth rates, providing a valuable lesson for Trinidad and Tobago. Professor Roger Hossein is convinced that TNT can learn from Guyana's exceptional economic growth performance. While Guyana's average annual real gross domestic product (GDP) growth was 18% between 2015 to 2022, during that same period, TNT's annual average real GDP growth was -2.7%, the worst performing in the region. Guyana's economy is also projected to be the world's fastest-growing economy between the years 2025 to 2029. An academic report authored by Hossein and economist Dr. Rebecca Gookel-Bosland and released in early May highlighted this data and provides a brief overview of the Caribbean economy's growth performance. Hossein informed the Business Guardian that all data used in the report is from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The report covers data on growth from 2015 to 2023 and 2024 to 2029, where possible. It covers both tourism and non-tourism dependent Caribbean economies. It investigates the impact of the COVID-19 growth shock and the reaction by Caribbean countries to this shock. It looks at the output gap in these Caribbean countries for the period 2021 to 2024, and it also looks at the medium-term growth prospects for the period 2024 to 2026. It also reviews the rapid economic boom in Guyana and makes a few comments about its stability. He told the Business Guardian what TNT's government can do if it is to imitate Guyana's successes. TNT has to increase its drilling in oil and gas so that the economy can benefit not only from the price surges, but also from production increases as well. I am hopeful that the TNT government would push for about 3 ETEC-K parks within the next 3 years. I am hopeful that they would look for investors because the ETEC-K park in Point Lises only has one investor as far as I am aware. I also think that the formation of the special economic zones will help with the economic diversification process. Drawing an analogy between the game of cricket and the region's economic performance, the report says that in the past, in the true tradition of Michael Holding, Malcolm Marshall, Andy Roberts, and Curtly Ambrose, the CARICOM sphere had pace like fire. In the tradition of fast bowling from that era, the Guyanese economy is expected to be the world's fastest-growing economy from 2024 to 2029 using data from the IMF, April 2024, online database. The report states that the rapid pace of this growth is fueled by the extensive revenues generated from its production of hydrocarbons. In 2020, Guyana was ranked number 1, in 2021 number 1, in 2022 number 2, and in 2023 number 1 fastest-growing economy in the world. So fast is Guyana's actual and projected growth between 2015 and 2029, that by the end of 2029, it is expected to be 12 times larger than in 2015. The report also referred to data which shows that as of March 2024, Guyana's reserves are said to be estimated at around 11 billion barrels with production expected to be about 1.2 million barrels per day by 2027. Some reports estimate that Guyana will generate some $2.1 billion and $320 million from royalties in 2024, and these will likely rise in the medium term as exploration and production continues. Tourism. The report explains that tourism as a service export is of tremendous importance to the region, given that this sector is one of the main avenues for earning foreign exchange for many Caribbean economies. It paints an optimistic picture of the future of the industry. The global tourism economy is improving, and basically as at the end of 2023, this sector was closer to 2019 levels of tourism arrival activity, as compared to 2021. Specifically, note that in 2021 international tourism arrival traffic was 69% less than in 2019, but by 2023, this was down to a mere 12%. The economic analysis also states that 2024 is a critical year for the global tourism industry, as it marks a complete revival from the COVID-19 shock. This global trend for the tourism industry augurs well for the region, which is one of the traditional sun, sea, and sand hubs for vacationers from across the world. It is important though for regional policymakers to be aware of the changing demographic of the modern vacationer and type of tourism product that is most appealing and reorient where necessary the regional tourism product. Medium-term outlook. The report also states that using IMF data, or data from other country reports for these various economies, the medium-term outlook shows moderate economic growth for most Caribbean countries. By 2026, Guyana is expected to grow 92.4% more than in 2023. The other fast-growing, above 10%, Caribbean economies in this time period are Dominica, 12.6%, Grenada, 11.2%, St. Kitts and Nevis, 13.3%, St. Vincent, 12.5%, and Turks and Caicos, 14.4%. The growth performance of the OECS countries is heavily influenced by its largest productive sector, tourism, which has been recovering since the pandemic. Further, given the spillovers which exist between these economies and more developed source markets in North America and Europe, the OECS region's economic performance is therefore intricately linked to the economic cycles of its main tourism markets, the report explained. The three slowest growing Caribbean economies are expected to be Aruba, 3.2%, Haiti, -0.1%, and Jamaica, 5.2%, between 2023 and 2026. The UWI economic report concluded by stating that several service export-oriented CARICOM countries are expected to see an increase in real GDP growth of more than 10% between 2024 and 2026. Turks and Caicos is expected to grow quickly by 14.4% on account of a massive inflow of foreign direct investment, FDI, and immigrant workers. Antigua's growth is driven by its tourism sector and its construction sector activity. Dominica has been experiencing strong growth in recent times, and this is expected to hold in the medium term on the back of improvements in tourism, agriculture, and its public sector investment program. It also says that Grenada's growth is largely based on improvements in its tourism sector and its Citizenship by Investment (CBI) program. St. Kitts and Nevis continues to grow with growth driven by a rebound of tourism numbers, housing and public infrastructure spending and investments in renewable energy. The CBI program has also been performing well. The renewable energy drive is promoted by the Sustainable Island State Agenda. The report states that Guyana's economy has surged since 2019 with oil extraction, tripling in size and achieving the world's highest real GDP growth at 62.3% in 2022. Alongside this rapid expansion, there are some signs of inflation, compounded by government investments targeted to addressing the country's structural developmental needs. Continued growth is expected with expanding oil production and sustained investment in human capital, infrastructure, and energy cost reduction.